Things are getting desolate on the western side of Disneyland. What's the latest on the possibility of a cast member strike? Join us as we take a complete tour around the park, every land and every attraction. This is our State of Disneyland report. And that, fresh baked, is Main Street and Town Square on this Friday afternoon, 1:02 p.m. About 85 degrees out today. And I cannot wait to do this report with you today for the usual reasons. We have some fun things to talk about, as mentioned in the intro. We've got the strike, the possibility of a strike, crowd strike happening here at the parks today as I record this. But it's also a State of Disneyland report, and it's just about my most favorite thing to do ever in the parks. Another of my favorite things to do is to stand here and listen to that train come into the station. So we're just gonna sit here for a minute and let that sink in before we get on with our day. I've been on the train 3 times today, where I've made 3 tours around the park today as part of our construction report for like a full hour, and I enjoyed every minute of it. But let's take our ceremonial walk down these steps of the Main Street station for the Disneyland Railroad and go take a vibe check down Main Street. Get a sense of how the park feels today on this afternoon. How's that for some Main Street vibes? It doesn't get much better than that. My goodness. Crowds here on Main Street seem pretty standard, pretty typical for what we've been experiencing for, gosh, I don't know, the better part of 6 months now. Haven't seen a lot of volatility in the crowds. It's not, I guess it's medium busy, I suppose. Enough to force you to, plan a little bit, to schedule things a little bit perhaps, but not so busy that you feel very much pressure or anxiety. I mean, this is just lovely. Nice. I feel like I could just end the show right here. That's the vibe. A horse taking his time going down Main Street on a beautiful summer afternoon here in July. Let's go look at the reservation calendar. We'll start real quick with the single-day ticket calendar, which will be real quick, I promise you, because as expected, July is completely wide open. No dates are sold out. Same thing for August. Completely wide open. It has been this way for a couple of months now. This has been the way during the summer, and the same thing happened last year during the summer. Things are probably going to get a little bit more backed up as we approach the fall season when the Halloween season starts. But for now, until at least August 23rd, I would expect to see that single-day ticket calendar look just like that, completely wide open, no sold out dates anywhere. As for the Inspire Key, also as expected, it is completely wide open for the rest of July. Well, actually, I take that back. There is a sold out Disneyland start on Monday the 22nd, but that's probably an anomaly. July has been incredibly slow here at Disneyland. Same thing last year. A lot of that has to do with the fact that the Enchant and Magic Keys are blocked out. So if we do look towards August, and we look at the Inspire Key in August, that's a little more telling of how things are going to be. Actually, this is better than I thought, better than it looked a week or two ago. When I looked at the August calendar, it was pretty bleak, actually. There were 6 or 7 sold out dates, but as of now, we've got, a couple of Mondays, a couple of Sundays, and 1 Friday. All of those dates, obviously, are dates that the Enchant and Imagine Keys are back. Let's actually look at the Enchant and Imagine Keys. Enchant is still blocked out for all of July, but if we move into August, you can see that they are available for the weekdays in August, starting August 5th, and then Sundays starting August 11th. The other days are blocked out. That's probably why those Mondays were blocked out, or I should say sold out for the Inspire Key, because the Enchant and Imagine have been chomping at the bit to get back in the park, so they're taking the first day available, and that's August 5th, and then the next available day closest to the weekend would be the 12th. Interestingly, though, they're not selling out on Friday. Friday the 9th, the 16th, and the 30th are not sold out, which is also interesting because the 9th, I book ahead these days, these Fridays, I book ahead every Friday 4 weeks in advance. That's where I use like 4 of my 6 dates booking Fridays in advance to make sure that I'm here on Fridays, because that's the day that I shoot this report and the construction report. And I couldn't get the 9th for a while, but it has now popped up. So Disney has been refilling those dates in the past week or so. That's why it looks a little better today than it did a week or two ago. But getting back to the August calendar for Inspire, it's about what I would have expected. I will say though, it's a little more booked out than last August looked. I went back and looked at our calendar from our July State of Disneyland report last year, and there were just 2 days. There were just 2 days sold out in that August calendar. But I think though, the return time, where the lower keys were able to come back, were able to get back into the park, was a little bit later in the month than it was this year, perhaps. I'm not sure, but yeah. So this is not. What's been happening here in July and August is not a new development. We had almost the same exact situation happen last July, which is why I expect August and September, or September and October, to be pretty intense. It's going to be pretty competitive to get those dates. That's my guess. Normally I feel a certain kind of way during the spring when those trees are in bloom and the pink flowers are blooming at the hub, but I'm really enjoying this today. I'm really enjoying the fullness of those trees and watching them kind of, in the wind a little bit on this hot day, and the other blooming that is happening here. This is kind of nice. I'm kind of enjoying this, which is unusual for a State of Disneyland report, because typically when I'm at this point around the hub and getting ready to enter Adventureland, I'm on some kind of rant. I usually open with some kind of rant, but the calendar is what it is. It's where it has been, and it's just kind of the same story. We're just it's bled into our lives now, and we've just sort of accepted it and moved on, I guess. But I would like to take this opportunity once more, Disney, if you're listening. How about a compromise? Compromise, for now at least. Keep your reservation system, because you want to track us, you want to know where we're doing, when we're going, and all that stuff, and you want your data. But just leave it open. Don't have any blockout dates. Have the calendar be wide open. How's that? Because you're doing that already with the single day tickets, right? That's already a thing. So go ahead and just put that in there with the Magic Keys. Go ahead and let us have, don't worry about having if there's a date's going to be sold out or not. I promise you, we will not flood the parks. I promise. You're not even selling Magic Keys right now anyway. So how's that for a compromise? Is that a deal? Already. I'm liking this vibe right here. Nice and chill. As we make our way into our first little choke point of the day, the entrance to Adventureland right here, where the Tiki Room meets the Adventureland Bazaar. But then it opens up. It opens up again once we get out into the main walkway, and then it'll crowd up again as you approach Indiana Jones. But quiet so far. Quiet is the feeling that I'm getting right now. We'll make our first stop here at the Jungle Cruise, which appears to have a posted wait time of just 15 minutes. I would be shocked if it was even that long because, as you can see, both of the top decks are empty. The upper queue on the left is empty, as is the right. Usually the right queue is empty, but not the left. The left has typically got a bunch of guests in there, so this is an automatic. You see that? You see no guests up there, you're like, let's go. Let's go on a Jungle Cruise. And I was walking through here, shooting B-roll on my way to look at the queue for Indiana Jones, and it has closed in the last 2 or 3 minutes. It went down, and probably in the last 2 or 3 minutes. So that's our first casualty for the day, is Indiana Jones. I was literally standing right there about 3 minutes ago. So that's interesting. Matter of fact, the guests in the standby there have decided to stick it out a little bit. I can't go back there to see who else might be hanging out because they've got it roped off, so we're just gonna have to keep moving. Maybe we'll check back on that later. That's actually an opportunity for a nice segue. One of the topics of conversation today is going to be the CrowdStrike outage. It happened today as we were filming here. I woke up this morning, saw everything was down. I couldn't check my stocks. I couldn't check anything. And it turns out there was a huge outage from CrowdStrike. They do security, and it basically took down half the country. And that included Disneyland to some extent. When I was going through Galaxy's Edge, it was about maybe 9 or 10 a.m. I found both Millennium Falcon and Rise of Resistance were down. They were both affected by the outage. Millennium Falcon came back at about 10 a.m. It came back online, but Rise, actually it might still be down. It is now 1:38 as I record this. We'll check the app right now. Star Wars Rise of Resistance is up and presently at a 95-minute wait, probably because a bunch of folks with individual Lightning Lane showed up to make sure that they could use it before the thing went down again. When I updated Twitter this morning about that effect, I had made a joke that somehow Indiana Jones had survived. That's Indiana Jones down there. Maybe I spoke too soon because yeah, they are definitely parked down there in that queue, not going anywhere. Indiana Jones famously used to run. Maybe it does still. I'm not sure if they ever, I want to say in last year, in the last major update they did, they finally updated the operating system. For the longest time, Indiana Jones ran on Windows 98. And we're talking like maybe just last year they fixed that. And that's why I was like, I can't believe it. Because the CrowdStrike thing was affecting only Microsoft users, Linux users, or Apple, or Macintosh type users were not being affected. But somehow Indiana Jones survived. It's pretty comical. Meanwhile, while we're up here, normally at this point we'd be talking about Pirates of the Caribbean, but we can make an observation from here. Look at the empty queue up there on the bridge right now. Look at the sort of sparse Lightning Lane queue. That's Lightning Lane down here on the left. Standby's moving pretty briskly over there. Wow, not bad at all. Let's go get a closer look at that Pirates of the Caribbean queue. I would say that the posted wait time should probably be no more than 20 minutes or so. Minutes exactly. It's funny, you look at this scene out here in front of Pirates of the Caribbean, you keep it limited to just this frame right here that we're looking at, and it looks like, oh my gosh, this is quite a day at New Orleans Square. But if you widen the frame out a little bit, you'll see that it's a ghost town to its right. And if you go deeper into New Orleans Square, and this looks kind of bedlam right here, but it's just barely on the bridge right now. As far as the queue goes, that's a brisk queue. 20 minutes is nice. for Pirates of the Caribbean right now. Like I said, if we keep walking, everything just sort of evaporates. And it's really kind of depressing. Every week when I come through here, every week, you guys don't understand. You just don't understand how hard it's been in some ways to report on this, both in, hi, how are you? Report on both on the construction progress happening at the Haunted Mansion, and when I do these State of Disneyland reports, just how desolate this space has become, and it's only growing more desolate. There's literally no reason to go anywhere beyond this point right now. Unless you're getting cookies or some clam chowder. You know what I mean? Or I guess the tuna sandwich is pretty good. Unless you're doing that at the Harbor Galley, there's no reason to come down here. And it makes me sad when I see families and groups come through here and they get all the way down to the end and they haven't picked up the message that there's nothing here and they have to turn around and go back. Just like what we'll find when we go to Galaxy's Edge here in a little bit. It was even worse because Rise was closed itself. Both people get all the way to Galaxy's Edge, and not only is the path closed between Rise of the Resistance and Hungry Bear and Critter Country, but both attractions were closed. And there's just a bunch of people in Galaxy's Edge just kind of stranded, and they're walking. They're like, "Oh, Rise of Resistance, let's go down this path." And I could literally hear people saying that, and only to find out when you get there, like, not only can you not ride Rise of the Resistance, but you can't keep going either. You have to turn around and go back. The way is shut. Now, like I said, both attractions are open now, so that's good. So at least they have that, but it's pretty desolate here. It's pretty, listen, it's just quiet. Normally, when you're in New Orleans Square, right here in front of the Haunted Mansion, it's bonkers. Completely, this is one of the key choke points. The path narrows right in front of the Haunted Mansion on its way to, as you approach Harbor Galley towards Critter Country. That becomes quite a choke point right there, and very loud, very hectic. But that is our State of New Orleans Square today. I'm worried also about, I had a pretty good feeling that they were going to open early, late July, but I'm getting worried because not only have we not heard anything, and we're now about a week away from the date that I had predicted. Matter of fact, it would have been next Friday. It was the date that I was predicting, next Friday, the 26th. I don't think we're going to get there because there are cast who haven't been called in for training. You got to retrain for the Haunted Mansion. If you go a certain amount of time without operating an attraction, you will have to go through a retraining process. I want to say it's like maybe it's 6 months. I'm not sure. You guys, CMs can correct me on that. I forget what the time frame is, but they're all getting, plus there's going to be new procedures, new cues, new this and that, so they all have to get retrained for the Haunted Mansion. And I haven't, some cast members I know that have not yet been called back. So it doesn't sound like that early date, that the possibility of that date is going to happen. I think we're now still stuck on August 23rd. Also bumps me out because my State of Disneyland reports and my construction reports, I've got to go back that way, then I got to turn around. And I guess this will be the first week they got to figure out this path. Gonna go around the river and back through Frontierland to get to Galaxy's Edge, I guess. Speaking of construction, I don't know if you guys caught this in our last construction report. See that? Right there, little arch. The wrought iron arch, that's the entrance to Haunted Mansion right there, you guys. And then where that little piece is sticking up there, that's the right column, the right brick column to go in. It's taken a while, but we're almost there. I'll show myself out.
So I think one of the places you can bring that place right there.
Wow, it changes the complexion of Big Thunder Trail, doesn't it? This takes me back. This amount of people on this trail right now takes me back to the way things used to be back in the day, man. Pre-COVID. Wow. But we can't examine this too much because we're not actually supposed to be here yet. We're supposed to be in Galaxy's Edge. Just talking to another cast member just now as I make my way towards Rise of the Resistance, and I was advised that the outage this morning with both Smugglers and Rise were not CrowdStrike related, CrowdStrike, but they were just due to the usual fussiness and crankiness of Rise of the Resistance. But so we keep, because that's how they were. I kind of wondered when I was given a time frame. I'm like, well, how would they know the time frame? Because it's up to somebody else, a third party, to fix that problem. How would they know? But so that makes sense that it was not a CrowdStrike issue, but just a usual technical issue with Rise of the Resistance. I mean, it sure has affected the crowd densities here at Rise of the Resistance. Normally you find a lot of loiterers, a lot of folks just chilling out here, just kind of hanging around, and not even just maybe sometimes waiting for their return time, but otherwise just hanging around. And I would have thought it actually would have increased that. You would see more of that because of the dead end. You would find more people kind of getting into the queue and just saying, heck, we're here, we might as well go in, rather than turning around and going back if they don't like the wait time, which, by the way, is posted at 95 minutes. That's interesting. Posted 95. Section 4 is empty. Section 3 is empty. Section 2 is empty. They're turning right directly into Section 1. They're just about at the caves. Lightning Lane is empty, just 2 guests. I don't see how that's possible. To paraphrase Poe, when he met Finn, we're doing this. What? Back at the queue at 2:13. Now, full disclosure, normally when I do these State of Disneyland reports, I don't do a lot of rides because I don't have a lot of time. I'm usually on a time schedule because I'm shooting 2 videos on the same day, and I try not to be here all day if I can help it. I like to try to be done by 5 p.m. So I reserve the right to bail at some opportunity, perhaps at the Ray Room if things don't go my way. Or maybe we even just take this to the Ray Room and see what happens. Into the cave at 2:19. (2:30) into the interior queue. This is going considerably worse than I thought it would. I thought we were going to move much more briskly. We're at like 13 minutes just to get into the caves, into the interior queue, which is longer than usual, but even more so odd because of the lack of lightning lane. I even checked the lightning lane over there by the waterfall, and I didn't see anybody in that queue, so I'm really curious why it's so sticky in there. And I'm wondering if there are situations perhaps where they're down an array of vehicles. Maybe that's what part of the problem was this morning with getting the attraction open, is that they're short-handed with vehicles, which is something that's impossible to predict. Whereas like at Mission Breakout, we can know that they're down an elevator, they're working on an elevator, it's obvious. I have no idea if that's the case here or not. I'm not even sure if that's a thing. Into the Armory at 2:52, it has already been a million minutes. I can't remember. I want to say 2:13, so 39 minutes so far. I was expecting much better than this. Into the Ray Room at 3:02, so that's 50 minutes to get to here, which is a lot considering there's no lightning lane, but I did confirm with a cast member that they are down a couple of vehicles. So that's contributing to that delay. Now, you may have heard that they're testing single rider at Walt Disney World, Magic Kingdom, or Hollywood Studios, I should say. I'm going to try to show you real quick what that's like. The guests would queue out there. Just on the other side of that wall is the main entrance. You know, the pathway out there. You come in right through here, and they would send you through that door back there. The single riders would go straight through and around the turn, and there's a back door to the to the stormtrooper room. So obviously you missed this. You missed the transport. You missed Beck. You missed the the interaction with the First Order officer. But it also breaks the show. It breaks the show because it reveals that you're not actually flying through space. When you, in order to get, like, how did they get there? How did they get from that common area out there with Poe's ship to the Star Destroyer? And then you're also backstage. You're seeing signs that say casting, that kind of thing. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like it very much. I don't like it's a great show. I don't like the skip one show. Now, there's a lot of attractions that do that. The fast or the single rider for Millennium Falcon 3 skips the Honda route, but at least it keeps you in the show. I don't like single rider either. It's not as bad as right now. We're about ready to take off and engage with the Star Destroyer. So hang in there with me.
There appear to be a number of small craft heading our way. Raise the shields.
Leader Company, First Order TIE Fighters. We're up! We're up!
Everyone off the ship for your interrogation.
Oh. That backstage door that I was talking about is right there. You would come in from the backside of those stormtroopers, and then you would pass through. You would pass by all this. You join these guys. Actually, it's a separate queue. This queue is split up into two rows or two columns, right? Left side, right side. They would set the single riders on the left and regular standby on the right.
Tell them it's a prisoner transfer. Probe droid.
Your escape routes came in a little off target.
Thanks to your heroism, the location of the Resistance base is secure. Bravo!
One thing I will add before we move on is that the shuttle, the transport, for quite a while, it didn't oscillate. It didn't move. When the attraction first opened, you had to kind of hold on as Beck was flying you through space, and you would kind of drift back and forth because you were in a ship. And then they turned that effect off for a while, and it was just flat. It was still, and all you felt was the movement of you going, rotating around its axis as it drifted into its next position. But you never felt the roughness of the ride. That was back on this trip, so I'm glad to see that's back. I'm glad to see that they have restored that. I thought maybe they were doing that because it was a safety issue, but perhaps it wasn't. Perhaps it was just technical, because if it was a safety issue, I guess it isn't anymore. So that's good. That's good it's back. So 50 minutes to the Ray room, and that was a slow 50 minutes if you ask me. That took. It was kind of sticky. That didn't move very well. Although we got moving a little bit right at the very end, but it's still 45 minutes shy of the posted wait time. So that's posted 95, actual 50. And now I do believe I see Tony Baxter. Okay, stay calm, stay cool. Holy heck, that was Tony Baxter just now, ladies and gentlemen. Tony Baxter, and that's my Tatooine sunset. Okay, so for the uninitiated, Tony Baxter, he's an Imagineer, a Disney Imagineer. He's the guy who is responsible for Star Tours, Indiana Jones, Big Thunder, and Splash Mountain. He is the lead Imagineer on all four of those projects. A literal living legend. My greatest, the greatest Imagineer in my, lifetime, obviously. Tony Baxter. Love you, man. a toast to Tony Baxter. Let's take a look at that tip board. All right. It's been a minute since I've been in the park, you know, looking at wait times, but I've been stuck in the Star Wars queue there for a while, so I am going to be curious to see how this turns out. But Alice at 25 is standard. Astro Orbiter 10, standard. Autopia 15, that's light. Return time in, what is that, just over an hour? No, just under an hour. Big Thunder is closed. Buzz Lightyear 30 minutes, standard. That's return time of now. Casey Jr. 5 minutes. They were running one train when I walked by earlier, but I have seen on other occasions where they were running two, sorry. So it's just a question of when you get here and whether or not you get two trains. Gosh darn it. Chip and Dale's Gadget Coaster, 20 minutes. Standard. Dumbo, 20 minutes, standard. Nemo, 50. Goodness, they might be running just one side there. Indiana Jones is at 70 now. Return time in just over about 6.5 hours. That 70 is pretty beefy. That's why we didn't get the chance to look at that because it was closed when we went by. At least it's back up. Small World is a walk-on at 5 minutes. Joan Cruise is up to 25. Carousel 5, Mad Tea Party. Wow, these are all just sort of either standard or light. Matterhorn, 40 minutes. That's pretty light. Return time in just over or just under 4 hours. Runaway Railway is 25 minutes. Return time in under an hour. That's pretty light. Smuggler's Run, 35. Standard, I guess. Toads, Peter Pan, standard. Pirates is still at 25. Roger Rabbit's 40 minutes and return time in just under 3 hours. That 40 minutes feels pretty light. I would have expected a longer line there, but then again, it's not that busy today. Space Mountain at just 50 minutes. Hachimura, that seems pretty low. What return time though is 5 hours from now, but still 50 minutes seems kind of light. Star Tours, 20 minutes, practically a walk-on, return time of now, and then Star Wars is at 80. They are no longer offering Lightning Green. That's interesting. Time went down. It was 95 for us. We had an actual of 50.
Oh yeah.
Strawberry Clan 15, and take care.
Come on, little Easter eggs. Yeah.
All right. Light or normal is about the order of the day. It seems things are just not very busy here this July in the parks. That's been a pretty consistent refrain, and I expect it'll stay that way probably through August, and then it'll pick up in September after the Halloween season starts. But here we are out here in the common area in front of Smuggler's Run. It does say 35 minutes. I am attempting to look in that window up there, and there is a little bit of movement, but it's yeah, I bet you it's not too bad right now. I bet you 35 minutes is probably pretty accurate. And with not much happening here in Galaxy's Edge, let me just take a minute then to talk a bit about the strike. The vote is actually today, as I understand it. The Master Services Union, about 14,000 members, 9,000 here at Disneyland, 5,000 at DCA, are voting on a proposed contract, or I should say voting on whether or not to strike. It's not the entire cast, it's just a certain subset of those cast members. The Disneyland contract expired, I think, already back in June. The DCA contract expires, I believe, in September, but both are voting on that. Striking is very common. It's a part of doing business in the United States. It's the negotiations with unions, acrimony with unions is pretty common. It's not just a Disney thing. It happens all the time. We just had a writer strike and all kinds of other things happening last year. They eventually get worked out. But having said that, I will say that my support is absolutely, definitely, 100% with the cast members. They are the reason why Disney magic is a thing. I know Walt's vision was amazing. The Imagineers who build this place and who design it and take care of it, they made a wonderful place. It's a magical place. It's part of my soul. But it's the cast members who bring me back every couple of days a week. It's the cast members who are the conduit. They deliver that message. And Disney asks a lot of those cast members to act a certain way, to be a certain way, to do certain things, to be here, every single day without a complaint, to always have a smile on their face. People say if you don't like the job, then you should go work, or how much you make, you should go find a better job. Well, this is true, but some people like working here at Disneyland. Some people want to deliver that magic. They want to put on that show. Meanwhile, you could say that it's very difficult for them to pay a living wage, but if Disney keeps pushing or widening that gap between the cost of living and what they're willing to pay, you're only going to get people who don't care about the magic, who just want to make $20 an hour and they don't care about any of that other stuff. That's who you're going to wind up working here. You're going to get fast food level cast members instead of people who want to put on show. And it's just going to be just about making the paycheck and not about the show. And you as a guest shouldn't want that. I don't want that as a guest. I like cast members doing and putting on the show that they put on for us. I prefer that. But if you keep forcing them to go find work elsewhere, it keep forcing them to look for a better pay, then you're going to lose a lot of really good people. So I'm hoping that Disney doesn't take this too far. I understand that, again, it's part of the business and union negotiations have been going on.
Okay, so a lot has happened since we initially recorded this piece. Cast members voted to approve a strike if Disney and cast negotiations didn't improve. That was Friday night. Then this morning, Wednesday morning, just before we were set to publish this video, a tentative agreement between Disney and the affected unions has been reached. It's not yet final, but it does sound like a crisis has been averted and park operations will continue without interruption, barring obviously any failure with that tentative agreement. So it looks like we're good to go. It looks like there's not going to be a strike. Everything is fine. All the guests, they're not even going to notice a difference. Now, the details of the agreement are not yet known, but I do hope that Disney made a serious and thoughtful concession to cast demands because they absolutely deserve it. Disneyland is a better place when casts are taken care of, and hopefully we'll never have to find out what it's like when they're not, when they do strike. Thankful for that.
And we're actually wrapping that conversation right here at the Casey Jr. Look at that queue right there. There are 15, 20 people in that queue. There's absolutely nobody in the switchbacks, nobody down the ramp. And that's because there's a train here. And there is a second train up on the hill. He's, I think, canning right now as we speak. There he is. Do you guys see that guy? So that two-train situation isn't a permanent condition, it would appear. This has been the case now for probably a week or two, where sometimes there's two, sometimes there isn't. I want to say it's in the latter part of the day, in the early afternoon, late afternoons, that you start seeing the two trains. In the morning, they're probably just wanting the one train. Meanwhile, as optics go, this empty space here is a pretty good sign of how slow things are right now. Let's go see what's up with Pinocchio and his daring journey. Looks empty. I mean, they are sending the guests along the long way through the queue instead of taking them directly in, unless they volunteered. Yes, they did. They tried to. You could just go in right here. Oh, that's hilarious. Snow White. Actually, this is a little bit more busy than I would have expected to find, considering everything else we're seeing. You see the queue out here like that? That's usually on the higher end. You prefer to see it just on this wall right there, perhaps, or maybe just the covered area. Peter Pan is light. We saw, what did we see, 35 minutes, I think, on the tip board, but look at how empty. Okay, these are the sections that I talk about often when it comes to trying to define what's a busy day at Peter Pan. This is one of the last sections that get filled. The outer switchback is one of the last areas to get filled. Well, I should say, that's actually the next place the queue will go, is the next switchbacks. And then this space right here, also wide open. This is a definite go situation. What are they calling this right now? They're calling, hi. They are in fact calling it 30 minutes from this point, which it doesn't really mean that anymore. They do, that sign is effectively a posted wait time now. And you will find that that time reconciles with the time that is on the app, on the tip board. Meanwhile, hey, what's up, Dylan? How are you? Toads? I mean, do I even need to look? Do I even need to look? Toads should be the busiest attraction of the entire park. I'm just saying, but no, it's not. Wide open. Look at all those empty switchbacks in there. That's a 10-minute wait right there, you guys. That is 10 minutes, if that. Dumbo, we're probably gonna get more of the same. I can't see anybody back there. I see 2 switchbacks here. Golly. It's posted at 20. I can't show you because it doesn't show up through the lens, but there's these guests waiting, the queue in, and then the queue, and then the line back, and that's it. Status is even lighter than usual for Dumbo in the back half. Not only is the back half not being utilized, which we have seen in recent memory, but not even this section. I'm telling you, it's not even the queue, the line in. It's barely the line in. It's just the line back, and that's it. Incredible. One of these days, I want to do this report on a Friday, but not in a situation where I have already been here for 3 hours shooting construction video, or shoot the construction on a Friday morning and then come back Sunday or something like that and shoot the State of report, because as I mentioned earlier, I try to be home or be done by like 5 if I can help it, because I want to be home with the family, you know, and have some dinner, etc. with them. And but I want to go on these rides, man. I want to get in there on Toads and Snow White and Dumbo and enjoy a 10-minute wait. Tea party. Virtual walk-on. The back of the queue is right here, but that's only because they have chained off the rest of the queue. They're not using any of the switchbacks, so they're going to send you from here directly into the pen, the holding area. Every single one of these guests that are coming to the queue right now, including myself if I chose, would be on the next teacup. The only queue that looks remotely normal so far here at Fantasyland is Alice in Wonderland. They're out here on the extra switchbacks, the extended part of the queue. They're even going around the corner a little bit, so go figure. Everybody in Fantasyland right now is going on Alice in Wonderland. They're not on Toads, Pinocchio, Dumbo, the teacups, Peter Pan. Well, some of them are. They're all here. Storybook Land is actually doing okay also, but that one always looks worse than it really is. That's still just a 20-minute wait right there for Storybook Land. If you can get in, you know, inside the brick wall right there, if you can get into that, you're looking at maybe just 20 minutes, typically. For real though, I'm having a really hard time. I'm having a really hard time skipping these attractions. If I hadn't invested an hour, actually more than an hour, at Rise of the Resistance, maybe I would have been able to do all that, but I had to know. Sometimes you just have to know. I like jumping into situations that are really, really curious, like that 95-minute posted wait time at Rise. Knowing the queue looked like it did, I have to know. I already know what's gonna happen at Tea Party. I'm gonna get in there in 5 minutes, spin around for a minute and a half, have a great time, and then I'll be done. But it's still, man, like, it's making me Jones so bad. I got so much FOMO right now, but I gotta go to Toontown. You probably saw in our construction report that they're up to something here. This is the entrance to the Fantasyland Theater. I still haven't been able to learn what they're doing in there, but I'm assuming it's just concrete type stuff, similar to what they were doing there in front of the popcorn cart, but it goes all the way back, all the way to the back side of the theater. Hey, how are you? Population is 9285222172. I don't know what that means. You guys remember when they had like a screw or a baseball instead of a number, and we would try to read the population? It was 97 baseball screw 271. Oh, you Toontown. Okay. Let's start at Roger Rabbit today, actually. It was posted at 55 minutes. Have I already found the back? Oh my gosh. This is gonna be the quickest. Yep, we're done. We're done. That's it. We're done. The easiest job I've ever had at checking a queue for Roger Rabbit. My gosh, I didn't even get in the door. I'll say it out loud. If you get to Roger Rabbit and the queue is at the door, that's an absolute no-go. Definitely not. 100% no. I don't know what it would take to get me in that queue right now. There's no way. Okay, this is so confusing because meanwhile, the better attraction, the better queue, 15 minutes. Hey, or no, I understand 100% why that is, but it just seems cosmically wrong. I feel like, don't you, like the wait time should be commensurate with the quality and enjoyment of the attraction? Like, why wouldn't you get in a 15-minute queue to enjoy Runaway Railway instead of getting in a 55-minute queue? Probably worse than that, actually, if the queue's at the door back there. Like, I just can't, that's like an insane decision to me. I mean, I like Roger Rabbit, it's fine, it's a great attraction, but it's nowhere near as good as Runaway Railway, nor is the queue. Even though it actually is a really good queue. That's how good the Runaway Railway queue is. I'm just looking for the back of the queue. We're not gonna go all the way through, but I just wanna see if it's down into the final prop room. And yes, guests are streaming easily down this lane and into the final prop room before you get to the concession stand. That's 100% a go situation. Actually, I shot a video earlier this week, a guided tour of the park, but not the kind of guided tour where, you know, I point out landmarks or talk about the history of the park, but a guided tour for every single attraction where I give, you know, advice on every single attraction. Kind of like what we do with the State of Disney report, but I mix in news and other observations while I'm here. But that, you know, that video is just going to be purely about how you should manage the attractions throughout the park. And one of the points that I made in Runaway Railway was that it's one of the few rides at Disneyland where it doesn't really matter to me how long the queue is. It's always worth it. I mean, some are better than others, but if it's 45, you don't mind. I don't mind waiting 45 minutes. If I'm gonna wait 45 minutes or an hour in a queue, I don't mind it being that one, because the queue is just that good, man. It's that good. You don't even feel it necessarily. It moves quick. It's enjoyable, and then you get Runaway Railway at the end. The attraction is just a chef's kiss of perfection. Okay, so it is just around down the street. This is the longest queue I've ever seen at Minnie's since we've been doing this. It's comically, the board says 10 minutes. That is hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. I've only ever seen the wait time say 20 or 30 minutes, never 10, never. No matter how slow it looks. And yet the longest queue that I've ever seen has the shortest wait time. The system is broken. 30 minutes for Mickey Mouse. That's pretty standard. I mean, literally, it's broken. It's all analog. People are just, you know, if people forget to update the time, then it doesn't get updated. And they just stays at 10 minutes, even though it's not. It's probably set 10 minutes for an hour or more. Speaking of broken wakeboards, there was a time pre-COVID when the posted wait time for gadgets was always 30 minutes. It always said 30 minutes no matter what. No matter what time of day you were here, it said 30. They fixed it, but it's just something that I've noticed. Today it says 45, and that is the back of the queue right there. We actually did some math in that video. I hope you guys watch it. Even the people who are regulars, who have watched all of our videos and are familiar with the park and all that stuff, we showed you the math for this attraction, how to figure out how long it'll take that guy to get all the way to the house. Not a guess. Not a guess. The only thing you have to guess is how many people are in the queue, but you can kind of eyeball that, you know, with pretty good efficiency. Not a guess at the actual math to tell you exactly how long it'll take. All right, so that's Toontown. We'll probably have to just do a cursory check on Small World. We saw it was posted at 5 minutes. I mean, just look at that. You guys, are you kidding me? Why isn't anybody at Small World right now? Why do you guys not like Small World? I thought you liked Disneyland. Yeah, it's still 5, and it's just they're walking straight to the boats pretty much. I think they're shipping the lightning lanes that way perhaps, and they're keeping the standbys on the right perhaps. But I mean, can you imagine using a lightning lane in this situation? I wish you could like trade. I'll give you my Small World for something else. Like, anyway, that's nothing. This is the emptiest I think I've ever seen this queue at 4:45 on a Friday afternoon. Incredible. I have to, you know what? I gotta go back. I gotta go back and find some July footage, maybe some August footage, just for my own brains. Not necessarily for a video to do a comparison, but my brain says, my memory says that this place was bonkers all the time, every day. It was always bonkers. And you could come to Small World and you would wait 20 or 30 minutes. It was never like that. In July, wasn't July supposed to be like the time of year to be at Disneyland? Kids are out, for school. That was the thing. Kids are out of school. We can't even talk about that. It's not even a topic. You know what we're not talking about either? We're not talking about the discounted ticket. No impact whatsoever. None whatsoever on the crowds. If anything, as I mentioned in the past couple of episodes of State of Reports, it's that sale that's got us just to this point. Imagine where we'd be if there weren't any discounted tickets. Matterhorn is next. You guys, seriously, you're not going to believe what I've just discovered here at the Matterhorn. I've spent the better part of 3 years being impressed with how consistently busy this attraction is, especially considering how much people like to complain about it and how old it is. It's usually 45, 50, 60 minutes, 25 minutes right now. 25. And I tell you what, that 25 may not even be accurate. It might even be less than 25. Look at this. First 3 switchbacks out here are almost completely empty. These are the folks that just joined. All of that is empty. And you're thinking, okay, well that means they must be wrapping it around the corner, because you love to see that. You love to see those empty switchbacks right there. And now at this point, you're just hoping that you get a smooth sailing. And oh my God, look at that. We're turning right. We're turning right back into the house right here. You guys, what's up, guys? You never see that. You never see them turning right here. This is all. Look at it's all empty out here. All of it. It's. I can't think of the last time at a peak time of day right now, almost 5 o'clock on a Friday, that I've seen this. It may not even be 25 minutes, depending on lightning lane, obviously. I mean, we were already in the narrative that, it's not a very busy day, and it hasn't been that way for July, but this is even slow for slow now. That's where we're at right now, slow for slow. All right, you know what? We saw 50 minutes at Nemo. I'm gonna throw my hat in the air if I see something ridiculous like 20 minutes at Nemo right now. All right, well, big fat set of empty switchbacks right there. That's a interesting start. Oh my gosh, over here also, completely empty there. The only queue right now at Nemo is the switchback on the other side of that planter. Hey guys. Hey. That's it. This is the whole queue right there. So it may just be 20 minutes. If they're running 2 boats or loading 2 stations, we might get that 20-minute number. I'm gonna lose my hat. Oh, the hat stays on. "30 minutes. And right now I see just one set of guests on the left side only. I don't see them loading on the right side, but I'm not sure if that's because they haven't yet pushed those guests into that side of the queue, or if they are in fact running just one side. But I would say that seeing the queue as short as we're seeing over here and still at 30 minutes tells me that they are just running one side or loading one side. Autopia is next. It's posted at 30 minutes. Nope. I can already tell. 30 minutes is up in the risers. Although they are using the rotunda. That's the back of the queue right there. It's gonna take them 5 minutes to get inside the rotunda. Another 5 minutes in there. Hi guys. And then another 5 minutes down this way. Maybe another 5 minutes on the stairs. Looking at 20 minutes total. All in. They are running just 3 of the 4 lanes though. So be mindful of that. Whenever you come to Autopia, be looking for a 4-lane situation as often as possible. 3's not terrible, but 4 is better, obviously. Feels awfully light, does it not? I had eyes on the posted wait time, by the way, at Space here while I was shooting that, and it was posted at 60, and then it just ticked down to 55. I'd be willing to bet it's not even that either. If they're willing to put it at 55, it's probably more like 45, am I right? So if I'm coming to Space Mountain right now, and I'm on the fence about whether or not to go, and I'm like, 55 or 60, that's not too bad. What am I looking for to either encourage me or dissuade me from making a go, no-go decision? Like, I know what a 55-minute queue looks like, or I should. So what do I want to see when I get to the top of this ramp? When I get to the top of the mountain, what do I want to see to make me say, yes, I'm going to do that? And I want to see the extended queue, the interior queue, at about a third of capacity. That front third. There's sections. There's 3 sections. There's the section right before the door before you join, get to the mix point. There's that front section there before you come out the door. There's the stretch that runs the length of the building, and then there's the back third right there, right? So I want to see just that front section, that first third. If I see that, then that's a go for me. That's a definite go, and it means that the 55 is truthful, and it'll probably be less than that even. And it's not a lie. It's not the other way around. And what do we got? You know what? If I was good at 55, if I was ready to go at 55, I'm kind of on the fence here. I mean, they are just sort of trickling into that. They're not switching back, at least. It is just a little bit of that extension. And so it's mostly that front third, and then a little bit. These guys are going to be here for 45 minutes, probably. Which I guess if we're answering that question, if I'm good with 55, then I should be good with that. If I'm good with 55, I should be good with that. I would have liked to have seen better. I guess that's what I'm saying, to really push me over the edge. But if you're good with 55, then you're going to get it with that queue. I just realized that this pretzel stand was called Astronauts like a couple months ago. Today, years old. Astronauts. I mean, it's genius, right? Buzz Lightyear looks pretty dead. Nothing happening here at Lightning Lane. Posted up there says 15 in the digital display. Nobody here sticking out of the Lightning Lane door. The standby queue looks pretty empty. Oh my goodness. Where's the... Oh my God, is that the back? Oh my God. Oh, I have covered my mouth out of shock right now. If you could see me. Here, I'm doing this. It has been a couple of years. I've seen short queues at Buzz, but not at 4 or 5 p.m. on a Friday in the middle of summer. I mean, normally when I check out this queue, I'm like, okay, is it going over here? Is it going back into Pixie Hollow? Oh, man. Wow. There's more people right now. It'll take you longer to ride Astro Orbiter right now, although that's just a 10-minute queue also, maybe 15. Star Tours, there's the queue right there. I'm looking at it. There's the queue. That's it. Those 5 people, and then that group that just walked in. That's the whole queue. Outside anyway. Inside, I have no idea. I can't see. But still, that's a miracle. Let's see if that is posted at 15. It's probably not that. The flabbergastedness continues. This has just been incredible. Incredible. I have to maybe start changing my days of week. Maybe I got to start doing that. Maybe is Friday the new Monday? I don't know, because it's pretty consistent. People keep saying like, man, I was at the park on Tuesday and it was bonkers. Yeah. Mondays and Tuesdays have been consistently the busier days in the parks. And I look at thrill data, which is a very useful website. I look at thrill data, and they've got the tip, the crowd meter or whatever. But theirs is historical, going back I don't even know how long. I would like to see that. I would like to segment that data to post-COVID. Thrill data, if you're listening, give me the ability to choose my range. I would love to be able to choose my range. Or, like a post-COVID, like 2022 forward or something like that. That would be cool.
How many days do you consider to be complete overkill?
And down the stretch we come into Frontierland. Make our final stop at Big Thunder, where I'm going to say I'm going to expect another 25-30 minute wait here. I don't see why not. Well, close enough. 35 minutes, and the rear section back there is completely empty, or not, well, nearly empty. 35 minutes is pretty good, actually. Big Thunder, considering what we've seen in the many weeks and months that we've been doing these State of Disney reports. We're almost here, or we're here almost every single time at the same time. And that's well under what we typically find. Quick peek at the queue there, and that's moving all right. There is lighting lane, but nothing backed up over here. It's pretty standard there. I mean, that's a brisk looking standby queue, if you ask me. And that is our State of Disneyland report. Now, I'm going to get on this Mark Twain that's parked over here. I have not been able to ride the Mark Twain all day today. The Texas deck has been closed all day. I'm going to try to see if, I don't know if it's open yet, but if it's not, I'm still going to take my last tour and we'll wrap the show there. Yeah, it sure does seem like Disney's got their hands full with this current situation. Park's not performing particularly well. They got an issue with the cast members and them wanting to strike. Public perception is still pretty low for Disney. The only thing that they got going for them right now is Inside Out 2. But I don't even know if that's something that's sustainable. Can they keep that going? That's a whole different conversation. The next couple of months are going to be really interesting. I'm going to be really curious to see how things develop coming into the holiday season. But I do hope you guys found our report today helpful for you, the State of Disneyland report. And I thank you guys very much for watching. If you like this show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbake. You can follow us on Instagram at _freshbake, on Twitter at freshbakedisney, that's freshbake.we, and on TikTok at freshbakedisney. You can also join our newsletter. I'm going to hope that is ready to go by the time I publish this. There will be a link in the description for that, or you can find us on Twitter as well for that. Join our newsletter and get even more content from Fresh Bake. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, everybody. Love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh Bake.